Hello, I'm Randy McClure. Welcome to the latest supply chain tech brief.
Let's talk about a problem that, let's be honest, pretty much every business runs into. You're swimming in data, just tons of it, but you're not really getting any clear insights out of it. You know, this quote from Jay Baer just absolutely nails it, doesn't it? In today's world, especially with things like modern supply chains and sales, you're just generating mountains of information. So the problem isn't getting the data, it's what you do with it. It's about using it wisely. So, to make this whole thing less abstract, let's bring in a guide for our journey. Meet Ralph. He's a sharp supply chain manager at an online furniture store, and he was facing this exact problem. He figured out how to take this flood of data and turn it into real, tangible results. He's going to be our guide up the staircase. Okay, so for Ralph and for us, this journey starts right at the bottom of the staircase. Because before you can even think about predicting the future, you have to get the fundamentals right. You've got to understand what's already happened, and just as important, why it happened. These first two steps, they really go hand in hand. Think of it kind of like putting on a new pair of glasses. First, you just see the world clearly for what it is. And then, once you can see, you can start to understand how things are connected. So first things first, just seeing what happened. And this first step, descriptive analytics, is absolutely crucial. Its main job is to create what we call a single source of truth. This means getting away from opinions, gut feelings, and guesswork. It's about using hard data to get a crystal clear, factual picture of what's going on. It gives you complete situational awareness. So, what did this actually look like for Ralph? Well, he got started by setting up a pretty straightforward business intelligence dashboard. And boom, all of a sudden, instead of juggling a million messy spreadsheets, he could see everything in one place. Shipment statuses, key metrics, and this was huge. He could spot problems like delivery exceptions the moment they popped up. Okay, so seeing a problem is great, but that's only half the battle, right? The real magic happens when you figure out why it's happening. And that's step two, diagnostic analytics. This is where you get to put on your detective hat, do a little root cause analysis, and really dig into the why behind the what. For Ralph, this meant he started investigating all those delivery exceptions he was seeing. His team dug into the historical data, and what they found was fascinating. The problem wasn't random at all. Turns out one specific carrier was consistently dropping the ball in a handful of New York City zip codes. Just like that, he had a specific solvable problem to tackle. All right, so Ralph's got a solid handle on the past. He's no longer in the dark. Now it's time to start climbing higher up the staircase. It's time to move from just reacting to problems to actually shaping what's going to happen next. Now, the next two steps on our staircase sound similar, but there's a really important difference. I love this analogy. Predictive analytics is like the weather forecast. It tells you it's probably going to rain. Prescriptive analytics is the one that tells you to bring an umbrella. See the difference? One predicts, the other recommends. So back to Ralph. How did he use this? Well, with predictive analytics, he teamed up with his sales folks. They looked at past sales data to forecast how a big upcoming promotion was going to spike demand for certain products. And that meant he could adjust his inventory levels before the customer rush even started. And here's where things get really, really powerful. Prescriptive analytics doesn't just show you a possible future, it actually tells you the best way to deal with it. It recommends a specific action, explains why it's the smartest move, and can even give you the steps on how to do it. Remember that pesky carrier problem back in New York? This is where it all comes together. After diagnosing what was happening, the failed deliveries, Ralph's analysis then prescribed the solution. The data clearly showed that a bunch of the businesses on that route just weren't open for 8 a.m. deliveries. So the system recommended a simple fix. Change the delivery window for those specific customers. Problem solved. Okay, we are getting close to the top of the staircase now. This is where things get really, really interesting. This is where decisions become almost instant, and the insights you find are things you would have never even thought to look for. You know, in today's world, waiting for a weekly or even a daily report, that's just not going to cut it anymore. Real-time analytics, which is powered by amazing tech like IoT sensors and the cloud, lets us answer the question, what do I need to do right now? It's all about making smart decisions on the fly. So, how do you actually use this fire hose of real-time data? Well, there's this awesome framework called the ODA loop, which was first developed for fighter pilots. It's simple. You observe what's happening with data, You orient yourself to understand the context, you decide on the best move, and then you act. And you do it all in a super fast continuous cycle. This is how you get truly agile. And this leads us to the very top of the staircase, the final, most transformative step. All the steps we've taken so far have been about answering questions we already had. But what about the really big one? What about the questions we don't even know we're supposed to be asking? Yeah, that's where AI-powered analytics comes in. This is a whole different beast. We're talking about systems that can sift through absolutely massive and diverse sets of data, learn on their own through machine learning, and here's the key, they uncover connections and insights a human being might never ever think to look for. You can imagine for Ralph, this is a total game changer. It's not just about dashboards anymore. He can now literally just ask an AI agent, hey, analyze this supplier's performance data. And the AI does all the heavy lifting. It automatically spits out charts, flags potential problems, and even suggests actions for Ralph to take. It's like having a team of genius analysts on call 24/7. And there we have it. We've climbed the whole staircase with Ralph from just trying to figure out what happened all the way to uncovering insights we never dreamed of. So let's just do a quick recap of the entire journey. So here it is, the whole staircase, from bottom to top. You start with descriptive, what happened? Then diagnostic, why did it happen? Then you move to the future with predictive, what will happen? And prescriptive, what should we do about it? Then you speed everything up with real time. What do I do right now? And finally, you get to the top with AI-powered analytics. What else should I be asking? Each step just builds on the last one. You know, this classic quote from W. Edwards Deming just says it all, doesn't it? At the end of the day, this whole staircase is what separates a wild guess from an informed strategy. It's what separates an opinion from a decision that's actually backed by facts. And that really brings us full circle. The question isn't what Ralph did, the real question is for you. You've got the data sitting right there. So after seeing this whole journey, what's the very first question you're going to ask?
Hello, this is Raina McClure from SC Tech Insights. Thank you for listening. For more on this topic, click the article link below or go to www.sctechinsights.com for the latest insights on supply chain technology. Thank you and see you next time.